că pot să te fac și spotlight. Da, ai toate drepturile. Deci, teoretic, când dorești, poți să începi.
Să confirm că se vede ecranul meu?
Da, avem primul slide în care scrie Oracle.
Ok, mulțumesc. O să facem prezentarea în engleză, deoarece înțeleg că se înregistrează. E ok?
Da, am dat drumul, deja avem 12 minute de înregistrare. La final, înregistrările vor fi puse pe YouTube și membrii care s-au înscris vor primi și un link.
Ok, mulțumesc mult. Ok, să începem, dacă toată lumea îmi poate auzi. Hi all, my name is Adriana Băcilă. I work with Oracle Support as Senior Principal Technical Support Engineer. I've been doing that for a very long time, like 13 years, and have been doing Oracle support for even more than that, with customers, working with customizations, with implementing application sharing. So if there is any dinosaur around here, he'll definitely say hi to me. In today's presentation, I want to show you a few best practices working effectively with Oracle support, maybe some tips and tricks, and I hope you would leave this presentation with some takeaways that would help you further in your activity with Oracle products. What you see on the screen now is a safe harbor statement, which basically tells you that this is just a presentation and not a commitment from Oracle to deliver any functionality or features. And this is our program agenda, which refers to first, what is what, service levels, then communication channels. Well, I'll show you how we can communicate between each other besides the standard My Oracle Support Service requests, a few details about self-service, and a few tips and tricks that you may use further in your activity. So starting with what is what, service levels. First, I'll tell you a few words about Oracle support. Of course, I won't read all this text because it's intended to be more like a visual presentation and not just read a lot of text. I'm a better storyteller, I think. So regarding Oracle support, what is support? Support is providing coverage for all your issues with using the applications of Oracle. It's both proactive and reactive. That means support would act to resolve your issues after you identify them, but also it will work proactively by sending information about bugs identified, about issues that you may prevent on your instance before they even occur or get reported by your users. Further than that, we have Oracle development. You have interactions probably already with development related to bugs, most commonly when you encounter a bug with the product. But we also need to mention here development is preparing the application code. It works with the application architectures and also with the product strategy for the applications. So development does much more than resolving bugs. They also prepare patches, security patching, and they also take care of product enhancements as requested by customers. We have here Oracle Advanced Customer Services mentioned, and this is probably an area where you have not so much knowledge. What is ACS or Advanced Customer Services? Well, this is support team which is provided tailored support, and it's dedicated to proactive or mission critical support. It's dedicated for cases when, for example, you want to move to a newer technology, you want to bring in some innovation in your applications, or you want to, for example, accelerate adoption of SaaS applications. What is SaaS? It's software as a service, and this is the current trend for all the applications, basically providing software as a service and not just the software and That's it. So for all these cases, when you need someone to take a look at your whole application, at your hardware configuration, at your everything of Oracle, then this is Oracle Advanced Customer Services coming to help. And it's of course Oracle Consulting, which is providing business-driven solutions. What does it mean? For example, you need a customization or you want to integrate some legacy applications or some of your own applications with Oracle. And for that, you need a supported manner to do that. You need a proper integration and make sure you're not creating data corruption or put your data at risk. So for such cases, you will engage Oracle Consulting. And Oracle Consulting will always provide solutions that are aligned with the product development and they're aligned with the standard support. So this team of Oracle will provide you custom solutions. So you may ask me here, how do I know where and when to engage? Maybe consulting, maybe ACS, maybe Oracle support. Then you will know by the type of issue you have. If it's standard support, then it's of course Oracle support there to help you. If it's not standard, and it depends on what you need to achieve, you can contact the consulting team or the ACS. They're all available on the oracle.com site, so you can just contact the team in your area. Or something that happens oftenly, you raise a service request with support and will tell you who should be contacted for that issue. For example, we find out the customization and we can tell you that there is an issue you need to treat with the Oracle Consulting team, for example. So after this briefing, let's take a look a little bit at communication channels. And I'll start with knowledge management, which is basically the main tool you have to access the Oracle information. Besides Oracle support and everything, you have this knowledge management area where, if you look at the left side where I outlined, you have some links which are available to you, like Get Proactive, Lifestyle Advisor, and online documentation, and so on. And with these areas, you can access various types of tools and documentation set available for you in the system. On the lower area, you can see some knowledge articles which are prepared for you. There are alerts. There may be some recently updated documents with major updates that you may have been interested in the past. So these are selected based on your activity on My Oracle Support tool. And on the upper area where I have outlined the knowledge base is where you do your searches, select your product, and then enter your search terms and find out the information you need on My Oracle Support. I'll get back to this a little bit later to show you a few more tips about this. Let's also take a look at Oracle blogs. I'm not sure if you are familiar with this. If you're not, I encourage you to check the blogs and see what's there. You can subscribe to email updates, which basically allows you to get information whenever something is posted on the blog you are interested in. Of course, you don't have to follow all the blogs because that would be too much, but you can select the products that you are interested in, for example, a database or EBS, or maybe even under these high levels of choice, you may select smaller products, for example, financial product, something that you are interested in, and follow up there. You can find any information posted by support experts there. On the lower area, I have outlined this link, Learn More, and you can access Oracle News. This is also a site where we post news from Oracle side, and from this perspective, I encourage you to check that, see what's there, see if you can find something interesting for you. And also on the upper left side, you can see the blog directory, which will help you select easier and faster what you need to reach. For example, I've shown here in this next slide some choices, some potential choices you may have. It may be a developer's blog, it might be a cloud-related infrastructure blog, analytics, anything you want, it's there. So just find the blog that is interesting for you, subscribe to it, and find out information related to the products you are interested in. Here's a sample of how recent posts look. You can see there are interesting titles there, like human-to-machine collaboration, or I don't know, anything that sounds wow, and it's there. So I encourage you to just take a look at the blogs and see what's there. I am myself a blogger, and I can tell you it's a very pleasant activity where I can see Oracle users from all over the world post comments to the articles or ask questions, and it's like a community of people that are interested on the same topics. So to sum up, you can decide to subscribe for news. You would want to follow favorite blogs, and you can even pick the channel of your choice, like Facebook, like Twitter, like YouTube. You may comment on any post and make sure someone will be there to answer and provide feedback to your comments. Some useful links that I have posted in the presentation to the blogs, for example, SAS, which is a very common and very interesting topic for everyone at this time, like database, maybe EBS. We have so many EBS users in Romania. So just check the links after the presentation and see if you want to bookmark something if you're not already a participant. Further, Oracle Communities is a communication channel which is very relevant. We have so many Oracle users from all over the world participating in these communities. And these are, of course, grouped by products, grouped by interests. And I'll show you a sample here. It's like my Oracle support community. On the lower side, you can see it's possible to select Oracle applications of your choice. It's possible to select some infrastructure or technology that you are interested in, industries or cloud services. And based on that, you will be directed to the proper community that answers to that interest you have expressed there. On the upper area, I have outlined this connect, innovate, learn, and explore. So what does it mean, connect? When we say that, we refer to joining discussions with other peers, members of community. They may be support engineers, they may be customers, they may be Oracle users, could be anyone there. And you can discuss your issues, you can ask questions there, and for example, find out what other people are doing when a customization is needed or a certain feature and it's not available in the application, or for example, you may want an enhancement for the product, but you need some other people to join there and show interest from other members, which is something development considers. And for that, you can look into the innovate area. It's Oracle Community Ideation, which is very relevant because it's a change. We no longer have enhancement requests raised as bugs, but we try to move everything on community. And why is that? Especially for EBS, it's very important to do that. For changes that you want to suggest to products, it's important to see how other people feel about this change. It's important to I don't know, allow development to review and discuss with you if that's the case, because sometimes development may understand differently your request. Maybe you want a legal change in the product and they want to know more. They want to know if it's something specific in your country. So this is why it was made public.
Adriana, just one second. Regarding to community, Oracle communities, there is a specific question. My Oracle support account to take part in these activities? Yes. Thank you, Radu.
Yes. You need an Oracle account, but for blogs you don't need. So the blogs are shared free with no need for any account or sign in or anything else.
So if I may, what's the difference between OTN? So before there used to be OTN, Oracle Technology Network, that you didn't need to have the Metalink account for it. And all the people were asking questions, technical questions there and getting answers and so on. And now Oracle has these communities that you need to have somehow an MOS account. And so how does this work? I mean, because now there are forums in OTN and there are forums in the old OTN and there are forums in communities. And I'm a bit confused about how this.
I understand. I was talking about my Oracle support community, which requires an account. Right? So for the others, for developers, for OTN, there are other communities which are now linked and on the same platform, and for those they are still free. Is this your confusion? This is what you have
it's okay. I don't. Let's discuss at the end. I'm gonna look during the presentation. Let's discuss. So I don't want to take more time now. Sorry.
Okay, so this is my Oracle support community, and it's basically dedicated to users having an account and accessing Oracle support. So I was focusing specifically to this community. Okay, let's go on and see if it's more clear or not in the end. Okay, so I was going to say further, check the learning area where you can discover training opportunities like learning paths. This is something different than the trainings we had in the past where you had a specific training and that's it. Now everything is structured in learning paths, which basically take you through modules of training and allow you to start from zero maybe or from a certain point where you have some knowledge and get to the superhero knowledge level. Okay, you get some accreditation. For example, if you want to take the certification for OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, you have to go through a few trainings until you would be able to prepare for the certification itself and access the exam. Okay, so these learning packs are available to you. Further is just an example for a different community for developer projects. Just put this picture here to help you see. It can be very interesting to help you see how it's structured and maybe encourage you to access it and see what happens, see if you're interested in the information there. Okay, if I go back to the previous slide, you can see on the upper right area, considering Rad's question, I am logged in my Oracle support community. You see that? So on the next slide, if you check, this is a free community. I'm not logged in and I'm not asked to be logged in. Okay. Further, one more thing I want to show here related to direct communication between support and Oracle users. It's this document related to product news. Some of them still have newsletters. Most of them have moved to blogs. And I encourage you to bookmark this document. You see that little star on the left upper side. So just bookmark this document and you can follow it later anytime. It's document 222.1, very simple to remember. And a similar document is related to advisor webcasts, which are video presentations prepared by Oracle for customers for specific topics, and you can choose your product area. And then afterwards, a new document is opened that will help you see what kind of webcasts are available for the product. In this case, I have selected Oracle Database because it's more generic. Okay, and in this document, you can see the upcoming webcasts, the most popular, or where there were most of the users joined in or asked many questions, so that those were selected as popular. And also you can see prior webcast recordings. In this case, I have selected this tab, prior webcast recordings, just to show you the frequency. So it's almost once a month you get a webcast where you can join and see various features, whatever is presented for database, for EBS, for all the products that prepare such webcasts, you can join and discuss with an expert. I'll show you just a few tips here. They are just meant to be live presentations, so the webcasts are never recorded and just shared to you as a YouTube movie or something. They often include live demonstrations. This is very useful because they present usually and they are built around the test case, and they show you how the feature works. They show you the setup, and then the experts show you how it works and the data, maybe provide some technical table details and details that are very useful for your activity. And one relevant and important thing here is that you get to ask questions directly to Oracle experts. At the end, there is a question answer session where you can ask your questions. One more thing to mention here is hot topics, where I encourage you to accept to be notified. This is not a spam. This is not something that we send and just jump in your email inbox and fill it in with all the details you don't need. But you have the option to make selections. And you have the option to decide when to be notified. For example, you may want to be notified weekly, or you may want to be notified monthly. We won't do more than you ask for here. So whatever you decide, it will be considered. If you want no hot topics, no emails, it's fine, none will be sent. If you want to be informed, then we're happy to send these emails based on all the choices you make. So for example, if you selected this as favorite products and area of interest, you can see in the upper area the choices I have made for these products. For some of them, I want to have alerts. For some of them, I want to know of existing bugs. For some of them, I want just product news or maybe the support notices. You can make any choices depending on how you prefer and what is the information relevant for you. Okay, so see in the lower area the choices you can make. Just select your product and make your choices. And this will further generate notification emails with the frequency that you have selected. One more thing that is mentioned as communication, I specifically entered this information here. It's related to management escalation for service requests. And I want to define first what is an escalation. An escalation refers to bringing management attention to the service request, and that is not a severity increase. So the goal for such an escalation is to get back on track with your service request and get closer to resolution. So you don't need, for example, to escalate if the issue became urgent suddenly. For that, there is a severity change suggested. And that is one thing I want you to remember here. Escalations are a positive experience. So nobody gets punished, nobody gets singled out. No, it's no problem if a company escalates all the time, and it's no problem if an engineer gets escalated oftenly. These are positive experience where managers are involved to help in the process. And remember, Oracle takes pride in making these managers available to customers. Every time a customer requests for a call, they will receive one for a manager to be able to show their business case, to show their concerns. Maybe they are unhappy with the progress or anything like this, but everything is in a positive way. And since we mentioned severity levels, of course, I won't read all this information, but I just want to mention something. It's important to understand that sometimes Oracle does not see the severity of the issue as the business does. And I'll just give you an example. While we have severity 1, 2, 3, and 4, where severity 1 is for critical issues and complete loss of service. For example, let's say you have a report that it's not working, which is a custom report you have defined in the application. And we at Oracle may think that is a severity 3 issue, for example, and that's because you have a workaround, you can run standard reports, and you have other ways to get that information you need. So we say this is a severity 3 issue. But the business user says, no, this is a severity 1 issue. For me, it's important. I need this report on Monday, and I need to pass it to my manager. I need to pass it to the board, or I need to use it in some other custom application. So for the user, that may be a severity 1 issue, while for Oracle, that may be a severity 3 issue. So how do you solve this? It's very important to provide the business case clearly and allow everyone connected to that issue understand the importance it has for you. So as tips here in this area, just state the business impact always clearly and share any milestone dates you have, because they are important and we cannot meet them if we don't know them. And also make sure the priority of the service request is always adjusted according to the business impact changes at your side. So if the issue was not important or urgent at the beginning, it may become later. So once it became urgent for you, just let us know, and this should help maybe increase the severity, or we could use any tools we have at hand to help prioritize better that issue. Further, we'll move to a self-service area. Where I'll get back a little bit to the knowledge base and just let you know it includes, the Oracle knowledge base includes around 1 million documents right now. And these have around 8 million hits within a month. So this is huge. The knowledge base is touched very frequently by the users. And I want to tell you that only 5% of the searches result in service requests, which basically tells us that 95% of the questions are resolved by just searching the knowledge base. So this is very important because it may be for a single user that 95 of his 100 problem would be resolved by just searching this knowledge base. So this is the main tool you have for self-service. Whenever you have an issue, it's important to search the knowledge base and see what's there related to it. And getting back a little bit to the My Oracle Support Knowledge tab that I mentioned earlier, I want to tell you that recently, well, not so recently, but recently, the knowledge base was moved to be available for Google Find. So it was not available to be searched on Google priorly, but now it is available. Of course, if you want to see the final solution and all the information in the document, you will need to log in to My Oracle Support. But anyway, having this Google search engine helping you find the knowledge management documents is very important. Also, I want to outline this area where you can help Oracle team to improve the content. That means what? For each document you open, you have the opportunity to send feedback. You have the opportunity to ask for anything there. Just let us know if it was helpful, if it was not helpful. If you want screenshots, for example, if you want a video, if you want a demonstration, just let us know. And I can assure you, as I have knowledge management lead role, that all these feedbacks are received and reviewed. So commonly in 7 days, there is a change in the document after you put there some feedback that you require a change. It may take longer for some cases where, I don't know, a full demonstration is needed or something like this. But other than that, it's important to know that we try and we strive for perfection with this to implement all the changes in 7 days. One more thing to mention here in the knowledge base, I have shown the search area earlier. You have the search and browse area, but you also have the opportunity to see recently viewed document. If you found them recently, they're stored there. Some recent searches and favorite articles, which are saved if you click that little star on the left for each document I have shown earlier. Now, for recent searches, it may not be so relevant for you, but I assure you that is very, very relevant for Oracle. We are reviewing every month the searches made by customers and changing documents based on that. For example, we see the errors that you look for, and we may prioritize better a document that resolve that error. We analyze in very detail all the searches and strive for bringing this to your attention as the first document you find for such searches. So this area is very important. Also, I want to outline again this area with knowledge links, and I'll focus a little bit on the Get Proactive area. So if you select from here Get Proactive, you will get this main document, which is 432.1, which is the main Get Proactive document. And inside of it, you will have information regarding optimize, resolved, upgrade for each product area you may be interested in. So just select your product area and you'll find a document that leads to information related to that product. For example, I have selected Oracle eBusiness Suite just to show you a sample. And there is a dedicated document that helps you get proactive for this specific area. So what do you get here? It's information for optimizing the usage of your application, for resolving known issues, for upgrade. And for example, if you check on the left side, it's an offer to install an EBS Analyzer bundle menu. This is having this motto, set it and forget it. And we love that. So for example, you install this bundle menu and it will be updated and upgraded every time there are new versions. So you don't have to think about that later or get concerned that you are not having the latest version. So this is very useful for such tools available. You should always check the Get Proactive documents. For example, there may be patching advisor, there may be patching analyzer like patching wizard utility, which helps you check which patches you are missing, but also helps you see the files changing by a patch. So every of such details is available in the document specific to your product. Get Proactive for the products you are interested in. I also want to mention here the online documentation, which is available. I've provided the link here, and for most of the cases, we have managed to put this there in PDF, but also HTML format. And the HTML is going to have direct links to chapters. I'll show you how this looks. For example, this is just an example where I have selected Start Autonomous Data Warehouse and observe the link. It is not a link to the user guide itself. It's not a link to the documentation as a generic link. It's a link that leads exactly to this chapter. So if you want to share this with a colleague, with a friend, with a user, you can just provide the link and it's available online. You don't have to provide the whole user guide and say, hi, check page 86 and the information is there. So now the information is structured like this. You can check directly any chapter, and you also have the opportunity to download it as PDF if you want to have all the information there. Maybe you want to search the whole document. So for those cases, the PDF is more useful. You have it available here. Also, I want to mention software downloads. There are so many available, and there are software downloads for free. I encourage you to check this. Maybe it's database, maybe it's something for Java, maybe it's utilities, open source, everything you may want. And it's a lot of giving from Oracle. I encourage you to just take a look at these pages and see what's interesting for you. For this case, I have selected Oracle UK because I wanted the page in English, but you can select the local area and see the information in the local language. Okay, it's a lot of free software, and I encourage you to take a look and enjoy it. Related to that, also check developer tools. Again, I have provided the link so you know where to find it. And it's a lot of information, and on the site you can check based on products, based on area of interest. There's a lot of offering from Oracle, and this information is available for download instantly. Of course, you won't get, for example, patches, you won't get upgrades, you may not have the full availability, but it's still free. So I encourage you to take a look and maybe download some information. I have shown here an example since Ciprian mentioned Apex. This is something very, an application used very much recently, and we had a presentation recently on Apex. So Application Express, this basically helps you build your own applications, and you also have videos that helps you get started, helps you understand how it works, and how it helps you create your own application, for example. So this is very easy to use, and you can download it, you can check the videos and start using it directly. You can try installing a virtual machine, you can try anything. It's free and is there, and you can try it. And why wait to learn at work? Just do it yourself at home. It's available. A few more tips and tricks that I want to mention. And I want to relate this area to something called automation. You may wonder what that is. And I want to tell you that service requests are closing 30% faster when this automation tool is being used. And this is very relevant. It's recent, developed in the last years at Oracle. And I'll tell you what it refers to. It refers to some engines that try to process the information you bring to a service request in an automated manner before the engineer even gets to touch the SR. So it's built, structured on two main areas. It's guided resolutions, which acts before you even raise the service request, and it's automated troubleshooting, which acts after you have raised the service request. So what does it mean? When you raise a service request, you are guided through a set of questions which are relevant based on the selection you have made related to the product and the issue, the error you get. Based on that, the system will ask a few questions and it may try to provide the solution. If it fails to provide the solution for your case and you still want to raise the service request, then it will request for some files that will be useful for that particular problem. Okay, and in the automated troubleshooting area, once you have raised the service request, this will analyze the data you provided automatically and will look to match it to known solutions. So this is being done without engineer help. This is being done automatically. And if a solution is available, it will give it to you. If it's not available directly, or it's not for sure 100% a targeted solution, then it just collects the appropriate troubleshooting files for the support engineers. And I'll tell you how is this faster. First of all, there are key steps that are automated in the SR resolution process. And what is important here, the data request validation and analysis is performed 24/7. So what does it mean? For example, if you're located in India and decide to load some data into the service request at, I don't know, 9 p.m. and your SR is assigned in EMEA, in Europe, say in Romania, then what do you have to do? You have to wait until next morning, until the engineer comes to work, and they start to look at the information you have provided. But with automation in place, what is happening? Your data is reviewed right when you upload it, and the system already tries to match this with a solution. If it's not possible, then you may get another action plan on the spot in just a few minutes. So this means you're basically getting 24/7 support at any time in this automated manner. Of course, it's not perfect, it's being worked on, and we're doing our best to improve it, but it's very, very efficient already. I can tell you that, of course, the ultimate level we aim to touch with this is to get resolution without the engineer even getting to touch the SR. And this is already happening. So there are service requests that are resolved automatically without even getting an update from the engineer. If it's not happening and the solution is not provided because it's not obvious or very much clear, that is the solution for your issue. If the SR gets routed to an engineer, it will include all the information the engineer needs for that case, for that particular problem, to start working on your issue. So this already saves a few action plans. It saves all the delay times when the engineer needs to review the SR, think about it, check the documents needed to ask the diagnostic and so on. So it avoids human delays, which are natural with a human being, but which are very easily resolved by a machine. I won't talk much about this. It's just a picture to show you all the influences automation has about an SR resolution. Of course, the target is to get no-touch SR resolution. But for all other cases when a solution is not possible to be provided immediately, for all those cases, we are getting very much time reduction spent in getting the information in the service request. So here on this schema, you can see the life cycle of a service request. You basically find a new issue. This is what happens usually. You perform a knowledge-based research. Maybe you find a document and solve your issue, but maybe you don't. And then afterwards, you want to raise a service request. And that starts a long process until the service request is being closed with a solution. So in between, if you check that area, service request closure, that is when you're happy that your issue has been resolved. But what if we can have a solution earlier in the process? So we're shifting this to the left. Okay, you can have solution due to automation. You can get a solution much earlier, sometimes even before getting to raise a service request, and sometimes just after you have managed to raise it. Okay, and this is your area of action. This is where you can do something to help the automation process and help it work for you. And I'll show you what can you do. First of all, select the problem type correctly, because if you select a different product, for example, you select the wrong problem, then you will get the wrong action plans. So obviously you don't want to spend time on that. Also, share all the information requested in the process. Why? Because if you don't share everything that was asked, the automated engine will ask for it again and then again. So you don't want to spend all this time to respond to action plans. And one more thing that is very important, provide the file type as it was asked for. So for example, if you are asked for a log file, provide the log file as text as it's originally in the application, or provide screenshot or everything, because the system is taught on what you should bring. And for example, if a log file was requested, the automated engine is prepared to scan and parse a log file and get all the information needed from there. So if you provide a screenshot, then it's not helpful. Of course, we have OCR working on screenshots, but it's not perfect and it's definitely not good for log files, for example. So this is why it's important to provide the information as it was requested. One more thing I want to show, if you did not select the problem type correctly and you find out you get some action plans that are completely not having anything to do with your issue, then just type I need an engineer. That will automatically stop any automation and an engineer will take care. That's why, because it's important, because otherwise you will respond to many action plans and provide a lot of information which will not be useful. And an engineer gets to look into the SR, they say, oops, this is a different issue. So all the action plans were not helpful so far. I need to transfer this SR. So this is how you can act to help this automation work for you and do it in a very good way. One more thing to mention in the end, because Ciprian will put some pressure on me very shortly, is this document of working effectively with support. It's a best practices document. You would probably be familiar with it. It's been there for a very long time. It support policies and everything you need to get. It explains the escalations, it explains the severity levels, it explains how to raise a service request, everything that you need to work most efficiently with Oracle support. So with a big thank you, this is all from my side. And Ciprian, over to you if you have questions for me.
Thank you, Adriana.
Thank you.
What I want now is to ask the participants if there are any question that maybe they want to raise. You have to unmute yourself and to just speak in the conference.
Yeah, okay, it's me, Radu. I wanted to ask, I'm still unclear. So about this, what are the free forums? What are the actual customer support forums? So if I go to community.oracle.com/hub, I have customers, developers, and partners. And if I go to developers, I get to these groundbreakers developers. So I understand that when I'm in this area, this is everything is the old OTN. This is free, right?
Yeah. Yes,
and
but
okay. Sorry.
if you want to get inside my Oracle support community, there you will need an account because it's support related. Okay, so if you're entitled for support, then you have access to the my Oracle support community. That's where you are asked to log in.
Okay. So